Hey, what's going on, guys? Xbox Online channel, host Sega Forever here. Trying to switch it up a little bit. Normally, I do something more pop culture on a Saturday morning. I'm falling behind in the other content on my channel. Wanted to do some reactions to some videos, but it's just been hard to find the time. And again, man, when it comes to the politics on my channel, um, I have people asking me, like, is it because it's controversial? That most people won't watch my videos because it's dealing with politics, or um, if I'm having a change of heart or stuff like that about the way my politics are. To be honest with you, with these videos, man, it's not about my politics and how I feel. I like to actually look at this stuff the way I look at everything. When it comes to politics, it's just as broad as possible. And that's what I'm trying to do on these videos. Of course, I have my opinions. I have the way that I vote. I have my party affiliation. I have all of that stuff. My own personal beliefs, both political and otherwise. Uh, but that's not really the point of the videos. I might share my opinions. That'll come out most definitely. But the reason I do these videos is because I find it fascinating, the way that politics is in the country right now and the effect that it's having on the world, as a lot of people are finding out over these last couple of weeks. As you can see by the title, we're going to be talking about tariffs today. And I do apologize because I wanted to do the Doge interview that Fox News had with Elon and his crew, because I think it's really important that people go and watch that. So if you haven't watched it, even if you don't like Elon Musk, or if you don't like Fox News, or you hate Donald Trump, these are the people that are in office right now. I would suggest you check that at the door and go watch what they're talking about. And I'm not saying you have to believe them or not, or that it's going to change your perspective on them. But what you guys need to know is that change is coming, right? And it's coming fast. Sorry about the background noise. Again, these are these planes flying over, which I don't think it's good that they do that. Where I live, dude, I'm right up next to the mountains that are connected to the coal house, right? So coal house here where I live is that's the mountain range that you see a lot in the movies, Jurassic Park and stuff like that. Very beautiful mountains. So I'm pretty sure these guys are flying over because they want the tourists to see, how beautiful it is, and it is. But it's kind of irritating as well. And hopefully, none of these planes fall out of the sky. It is what it is, right? Um, but case in point, sorry about the noise. And you're going to probably hear a lot of that. I got birds flying all over the place. The only good thing about the plane that it does is it scares the birds off, but they'll come back. So you probably hear that in the background as well. Hold on. Let me make sure this is streaming. Yeah, so I might still do it because I do want to do commentary on it. But if I do those videos, they're going to be super long. It doesn't matter to me if I get view count or not, guys. Just don't worry about that at all. Again, I'm just doing it just this is kind of like my vlog, dude. This is like my um, kind of like my diary, if I'm being honest, right? I get to do this kind of stuff, and again, like I tell you guys all the time, on this channel, man, I probably wouldn't do content unless I did stuff I'm interested in, and this is stuff that's very interesting. This stuff's important. This stuff's important, and you can tell it's important, man, because there's a lot of people talking about what's currently happening right now with the tariffs, right? And we'll talk about that a little bit more specifically. Um, I'm not just talking about people's different opinions and views, but the effect that the tariffs are having right now as we speak. I just watched a really good video from this guy, I believe is in Canada. And he did an amalgamation of a lot of different people's videos, and they're talking about the cost of food in Canada right now. Well, by right now, I mean yesterday, Friday. Right, so he posted the video, and people are sharing the cost of their groceries that they paid for throughout the week last week. And the tariffs just went into effect on 12, so they're already paying high cost on food. Right, when the tariff kicks in, my point being, when the tariff kicks in, it's going to be double, easy, for people in other countries that we're having this tariff war with right now. One of the things that a lot of these countries don't realize when it comes to America, that we've gone through 4 years of a really bad economy, and a lot of us has adjusted. On top of the fact, even in Trump's first term, we went through COVID, right? So you had the COVID thing kick off, right? Some people made money, a lot of people didn't. Some businesses the way America works, right? People, we have ingenuity, we have the ability to think outside the box here. So some people benefited from that and course corrected. Most people didn't. Then we went through 2 years of COVID, really bad, right? When it came to the economy. and then people adjusted either by hook or by crook, right? You know that old saying. And what I mean by that is either they adjusted on their own or they were forced to adjust, right? And a lot of people were in the forced to adjust aspect, right? Like you had to pull, like I know people that had their kids in private school had to pull them out, right? Because they weren't working. I knew people that had to ultra budget. I was one of those, but I don't live on that high spectrum when it comes to money where I live, dude. But there's people here that if you want to do it all in the state that I live in, dude, you have to make a high income, right? Either you make a high income or you do best with what kind of income level that you're at, or you move, right? Those are the three options you have where I live. So I felt some kind of way for the people that were sharing the videos because when they were talking about the costs, their costs were ridiculous. But I already live in a state where cost is high. Cost of living where I live, the state I live in, is always high. It's always been high. Where everybody was complaining during the pandemic that gas was going up to like 2, 3, then eventually at $4. Where I live, $4 is the average, right? And I'm not saying that to throw that in people's faces. I'm just trying to give you guys a kind of a picture of what's going on right now. Okay, because if you watch the mainstream media, dude, it's all panic. They hit the panic button constantly. The problem with the mainstream media is nobody's believing them, right? Because for 4 years or 6 years, technically, even in Trump's term, when things turned bad with the COVID, everybody knew the economy was bad. You felt it, and that's what I feel for the people in the video, these guys in Canada, because they're already paying high prices, and now they're feeling it even more. And technically, the tariffs haven't even kicked in yet, right? And ultimately, they're asking all these questions: why? Same thing that happens here, though in America we've been dealing with it a lot longer, which is why a lot of people voted for Trump, right? And they wanted him to make a change. Now, in fairness, dude, him doing his tariffs probably gonna feel a little bit more pain. But I think he's doubling. I think the reason he's doing that because he knows people here in the states are numb. You know, if you watch our news media, especially in the mainstream, there's people that support him. There's people that don't support him. There's rarely anybody in between, right? Even the people you think support him, they support him for reasons, right? I know people that just voted for him because they were hoping that they could get the economy better. I feel sorry for them here because I didn't want to bust their bubble. They already live, inflation's always going to be high here, or the cost of living is always going to be high in Hawaii, right? And then on top of the way our politics are here, it's not going to help at all, right? It won't matter if Trump turns the whole country around. You might have some effect here, but less like the people in Canada, the people in my state, what we suffer from is the government that we have here, right? They have a habit. They don't know how to budget, right? We have a lot of services here that needs to be paid for. Our city and state budgets are very high. Our taxes are ridiculous. And we have like two of the biggest industries right now, which is why the state can continue to move forward. Is because we have two of the biggest industries, which is federal government and tourism. Those are the two biggest things right now. So I can tell you, man. That's why I posted on X to let people know because there's some people that live, and I'll just be honest with you, in blue states, right? These guys live in blue states like me, and my state is deep blue, right? The state will never change. And you see rumblings here locally, but people are starting to get it, right? But because things have been a certain way for so long, it's generational, right? That the odds of things changing where I live is nil, near impossible. You see little hiccups every now and then in the matrix. That is the local government, but for the most part, dude, the Democratic Party here has a strong hold, and they're only getting worse, right? If you see who our senators are and our representatives in Congress, a lot of you guys know them just because they get clipped all the time, man, because they're crazy. You know, their state is suffering, and they're worried about Trump more than they are the people of the state. They should be worrying about how to get costs down, the cost of living, especially what they're going to do about what we call aqua birds here, right? People that buy properties but don't live here, and so there's a housing shortage. How they're going to get the cost of housing down? If you try and buy a house in Hawaii, if you'd be lucky if you can get under $1 million, right? And when I mean lucky, by $1 million, I mean like that's for a shack and for a rundown house. A lot of people that come here, the only people that can afford to buy homes here is if your family has money and you live here, or you have a house that you can sell. I don't, local people have very limited options, but people that have a lot of money that want to move from where they are to the state because of the premium stuff like the weather, it's safe. Um, there's good private schools here, stuff like that, dude. They can drop $1 million and then they have to rebuild the house, right? And then afford to live here with the cost of living being for the food, groceries. So that's why I was kind of sympathetic for the people in Canada because they were paying like $50 for like a maybe half a bag of groceries, and now that's up to $90. Where I live, it's kind of the same thing. We haven't hit the $90 mark, right? And hopefully we never will because that's rough. Um, because a lot of people don't have options, man. That's just the reality of it. So my point being, guys, is like, look, dude, whether you like this administration or not, whether you don't agree with some of the stuff that he's doing, you have to see what's going on, or else you're gonna get stick. You're gonna get shock and awe, dude. That's all I see from people all the time, right? And I just sit there and look at them, and I'm like, bro, if you just take the time to educate yourself on what's going on, right? Even in the mainstream media, dude, they serve a purpose as well, dude. You guys know this is a pro Xbox channel, right? And that's the best thing I can tell you. Like when you look at the game media and how they look at Xbox, right, and how they report on Xbox, it's kind of that same thing, right? You, if you're in the ecosystem and you like what Xbox does, you're really quick to realize the bias in the gaming media, right? It's slanted. Same thing with politics, dude. A lot of that is slanted. If you watch mainstream media, dude, most of those people have a political bias and they wear it on their sleeve. The funny thing about them is that they don't think they have a political bias, which they do, because everybody around them. This is why this is dangerous. Groupthink and living in a bubble, two dangerous things, right? Because you're not challenged on that. And when you are challenged, and you can tell too when they are challenged on it, they get very upset, right? Because somebody's actually stepping into their world and giving them a reality check a lot of times, right? So again, you have to keep all of this stuff in mind, but you can actually use that as a guide as well. It's easy for me, like I'll watch mainstream media just to kind of check myself, right? And in the sense of like how I use IGN, like if there's certain people that would review for IGN, if they didn't like the game and they gave their reasons why they didn't like the game, I knew I would like it. If that makes sense, because they have their opinion on it, they have their biases, and I'm the opposite of where they are. So if they don't like it for particular reasons, I might like it because of those same reasons. You see what I'm saying? So you can use that as a gauge to kind of see dude, man, what's up with this plane, bro? Like I don't know if you guys can hear it. I can hear it, and it's bothering me. So oh, you know what? Those might be jets. What is today? Today is not. No, it wouldn't be. Nobody flew in. One of the things I live by the Memorial of the Pacific, which is called Punch Bowl. Right, that's where all our veterans are buried. If you're a veteran, you can get buried there. A lot of veterans from World War II, especially. It's a beautiful place, by the way. But I live right beneath it, so sometimes I guess the military they do. I don't know why they would be doing it today. So just use it as a gauge, guys. If you guys do that, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys do that in your gaming as well, right? Hold on, let me check this real quick. This is crazy because I thought I had reserved some. Let me check this. Oh yeah, that's a military. That's a military jet. See, I know you guys can hear it because my thing's the stuff is. Hold on. That's probably an F-22. I think that's a. I don't think that's an F-22. I don't know what kind of plane that is actually. F-22s don't drag like that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. We have F-22s here in the islands, and they're pretty awesome looking too. Actually, got to see them one day. I was having a group work function, and it was near Hickam Air Force Base. And that day we had just this was about a year or so ago, maybe longer. But anyway, we had an event near Hickam Air Force Base, man, and it was cool because the Raptors actually they had sent F-22 Raptors to the islands, and then that's the first time a lot of people saw them, and they were right on the runway, and we saw them taking off and landing. Dude, I mean, and we were, of course they're not going to be right next to the runway, dude. We had some distance there, and you could feel it. You could feel it. That's how strong these jets are. That's why sometimes I share on my social media accounts, guys, that I'm sharing my stuff with military. I'm fascinated with military, both the history, weaponry, technology. There's a reason why we spend almost $1 billion on our military. It's crazy. Um, Interesting to see the military actually trying to cut the fat, trying to come, they use the term warfighter mentality, and trying to do more with less. Which for me, I'll be honest with you guys, if you guys follow me on social media, you guys know I'm all for that. And I'm not talking about the random stuff that a lot of people accuse this administration of doing right now, just cutting stuff just to cut stuff, dude. There's a lot of bad stuff that goes on in government, and there's a lot of stuff that needs to be corrected. Just being honest with you guys, right? But at the end of the day, dude, just getting back to what we're talking about, you guys need to engage, right? Because the biggest thing, a shout out to the guys that was in the group last night and everybody that showed up, had a really good time, right? Because we were predominantly an pro Xbox channel, so we got to talk about a lot of gaming. And it was fun. Had a good time. Yeah, this is. I'm sorry, I'm distracted by this, but I can. They're coming by. We can hear it. I can feel it. This is weird because they're normally not allowed. They're not supposed to fly over to space, so they must have got clearance. Probably because the state is worried about the military, like actually shutting down bases and stuff here. Because our economy relies so much on federal spending. It's sad when you start doing the cuts. A lot of this island, man, the media went nuts because they were cutting back on federal programs, federal services, right? Which I think, look, dude. I mean, if you rely on something so much, dude, that you have to check yourself. Right? That's what a lot of these people in Canada right now. Getting back to those guys talking about their grocery bills and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, dude, that's the reality of it. Dude. You shouldn't depend on um, other people so much. That it affects your livelihood. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel for the people in Canada, man, because the course corrections they need to take, I don't think they'll be able to do it, right? Because the reaction that they're having with the tariff wars, which I think is unfair, because again, one of the good things that Trump did is when he brought up that chart, he shows how other countries tariff us, right, and how we go back and forth. Right? And then you have people stepping in and they're like, well, with the tariff and the tax, it's this and that. Look, let me tell you guys something. And I've seen other people point this out, so this is good to see that people are actually paying attention to this stuff, dude. The difference between a tax and a tariff is I don't have to pay for the tariff, right? I'm doing, and some people might say, well, that's hard. What if it's a tariff on something you really like? Then you just have to do it out, dude. And that's the thing that a lot of people aren't understanding right now. There's Americans right now doing that as I speak right now. Dude, there's a lot of people where I live that want to go get raw fish, or they want to buy poke. Poke is popular there, dude. But if you go to the store, dude, poke is like $20 a pound, right? And so what people do is the only other option is to buy the $14 or $12 a pound, but that stuff's frozen, right? So what I mean by frozen, it's not freshly caught here. It usually comes from someplace else, right? So the market's already adjusting, right? And then that market, whether you agree with it or not, will go where it goes. So then you have to adjust. Is my point, right? And that's what a lot of people have to do, man. And from these videos I see from Canada, dude, um, they're not going to be able to do it. Right. And that's why I'm doing these videos, man, because this is to just let you guys know, man, this is what we need to do. And you're already doing it. I know most of you guys are already doing it, man. I talked to a lot of you. Dude, if you haven't been keeping up with the Nintendo kerfuffle going on with Nintendo and the Switch 2 and the games and the pricing, if you're not keeping up with that, just go look at that. That's a perfect example. If you don't follow politics, that's just a perfect example. You can do a one for one about how these tariffs can affect you and how the cost of everything is, right, and how people are reacting to it. Because in Canada, what they need to do ultimately is change their government. They have a very liberal government there, dude. A lot of these guys, they like social programs, right? They like bringing in a lot of people. They love diversity. They love green energy. All of that stuff is a death knell for any economy, and that's what they need to realize, but they're not. What they're doing is right. The people in charge, the liberal dude in charge in Canada, and he's like throwing it at America, and then he's rallying up the people up there to blame us. Well, if you check the receipts, dude, I mean, they rely a lot on us, more so than we do on them. And the thing again, dude, we've gone through technically 6 years of bad economy. Right? At the ending of Trump's economy, even though it's good, it was good or stuff like that, but you can see the trappings of the recession coming in, right? Especially when they started shutting down everything because of COVID. I'm not saying Trump did that, right? But definitely when Biden stepped in and the Democrats took over, and they went full bore on that crap, right? And then we lost a lot. And I think the ramifications of that won't come out to another probably 5-6 years that people are really because in 5 or 6 years you can have a lot more honest conversation. I think that's another reason why people elected Trump because people are tired of not being able to speak their mind and have honest conversations like I do here on this channel. Last night when I was doing the podcast, there's a PlayStation guy that came in there, which I'm fine with PlayStation guys coming into my podcast, dude. It doesn't bother me because of the simple fact that they're not going to change my mind. I'm already set in my ways too. And I already game the way that I want to game. The only people that change my mind when it comes to gaming is myself. And then some of the fellows in the group. Like shout out to Unlimited and E-Rock. They have made some excellent points on Assassin's Creed Shadows. Assassin's Creed, not one of my favorite franchises. Though I own most of their games. I just haven't got around to playing them. And I realized too, it has nothing to do with the politics or anything about Assassin's Creed. Actually, it's just it's very involved, very deep games. Right, and I don't know if I have the patience for that anymore. But I mean, you outside of the people and that's for most people inside of your inner circle, right? I mean, most people are like that. But if people come in like that dude who's a PlayStation guy trying to stir the pot, I don't know if he's trying to have fun, trying to make trouble. Obviously, PlayStation has no games. That's why he was there in our podcast last night, and he stuck to the whole thing. So credit to him. Xbox has no games, and then Unlimited told me that he was. I never noticed him on Hundreds podcast, but then again, when I listen to the podcast, it's usually after the Saturdays. I'm usually busy doing stuff, so I'll listen to Hundreds podcast like on the week of the following week. Usually when I'm at therapy or at the gym, and by at the gym I mean at the gym doing therapy stuff, not. Not like my younger days, man. I'd be throwing weight around. Those days is over, dude. Just being honest. But yeah, that's the reality for people in Canada, as it was here 4 years ago. Hey, what's up, Unlimited? I have a lot of criticisms for the Trump administration, like I do in office. I'll never be the type to blindly follow anything without critical thinking, including anything I like. Yeah, that's 100%, bro. That's probably why I like hanging with the guys in the group, man, because they're not a lot of them they let logic and reason. That's kind of how I am. Again, everybody can have their own standards, their own morals, their own principles. I definitely have mine, right? But a lot of the people in the group, if you haven't noticed about the Xbox guys, dude, in our group, we're critical of Xbox as well. We just don't go down the road of the stupid criticisms of Xbox that don't matter. Right, like we don't like again, like what Unlimited said. A lot of the guys who is criticizing Assassin's Creed Shadows, like there's some stuff about Assassin's Creed Shadows, that I have a problem with Ubisoft, man, because I know because of their politics and how they think, right, why they did what they did. But on the flip side of that, dude, what was really irritating me a lot, and it's been irritating me for a while, dude. I can put my finger on it, and then Unlimited. Hit it out of the park, dude. It's just like, look, dude, at what point do you if you hate something so much, dude, why are you doing it? And I actually was doing that. I actually do that in everything else, right? Like I told you guys, man, I don't like Disney and Disney Marvel or Disney Star Wars, dude. And especially for Star Wars, dude, I tried to hang on as long as possible with that franchise. And at the end of the day, I realized they're never going to change, right? And so I made the choice to walk away because I'm not going to sit there in misery. Right? Hoping and praying that they'll change because it's a waste of time and money, if I'm being honest. And I have neither both. And then again, if you guys watch my channel, dude, I'm buried in a lot of the stuff I like or don't like. Right? So what I do is, dude, I just go find something else. And there's a lot of stuff out there. That's why Xbox is premium, bro. You guys can play whatever you want. You mad that Final Fantasy ain't coming over here? That's okay. Play Skies of Arcadia, or not Skies of Arcadia, but play Mana, the Mana series, right? Go play Tales of Mana. Go play. There's tons of stuff that's on Xbox right now. Go play Yakuza, right? You have choices, is what I'm trying to say, right? But if you don't open your mind or expand your mind, this is the political link I'm trying to make here. So you're gonna be stuck on that. You're gonna be stuck in that quagmire, and I'm not doing that. Hey, what's up, Unlimited says, in fact, I'm harder on things I like or agree with than the opposition. Yeah, I'm the same way, Unlimited. Like, people are shocked when I tell them I'm a Marvel fan and they think I'm a hater. Right? But I'm like, no, because I expect more from Marvel. Dude, they have a history, right? They have a lot of stuff that they can pull from, man. And they're making these ridiculous movies and these ridiculous stories with these horrible characters. And the sad part about it, like I was saying yesterday, in the podcast yesterday, brother. I mean, I was saying this is just like they have so many talent coming in now, right? But now the talent before they have the writers and they had the production down, but they couldn't get the talent because people wouldn't want to do it. Now they built such a reputation that they have the talent is coming in. And the interesting thing about it is the talent that's coming in are older and veterans, and they want to do it because these people have kids or grandkids, and the kids and the grandkids like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Unlimited says, it's why I am vocal on Democrats because black people, my family included, mostly vote blue. So I want to see results. And with the current administration, they are doing things that I'm strongly against. Yeah, dude, that's fair, bro. That's fair. I mean, I live in a deep blue state, bro, to a fault. I mean, just by osmosis, dude, I have to be opposite of the party here because it's so blue here, dude, that they run with unchecked power. You could have seen that last 4 years where you had Biden could just call a cap on a news press conference, right? Like he could do whatever he wanted to, media wouldn't react. And then Trump, when he had the 4 years before that, dude, they would lose their minds. It's interesting now because they can't do that. But several reasons, guys. You guys remember that Trump has 4 years, and so he's probably going to run everything he wanted to implement in 2016. He tried to play ball with these guys and they screwed him over. And so what he's going to do, he's just going to run roughshod over everything. That's what you see on the tariffs right now. And the interesting thing is people can't gauge like what he's trying to do, and it's entertaining for me to watch, not because I want to throw salt in people's faces or do that kind of stuff, but it's just the reactions of people and how they don't get it when it comes to this president that's currently in office. And that's why I said, man, you guys got to go out there, dude. If you guys are engaged in this stuff, you have to go out there and hunt it. Because you have to get different opinions. You have to go look at stuff that you might not like, listen to people you might not listen to. And I do that all the time. Now, granted, I try and check my own biases, but sometimes when you listen to a person for about 2-3 minutes, you already know where you're going, right? But still, it's just to gauge stuff. Again, I use Xbox as a perfect example. How many times as an Xbox guy you've been told that Xbox has no games? But if you bought the Xbox and you're in the ecosystem, or if you're like that dude Bruv, who believed all those lies, right? And then he gets an Xbox and he gets Game Pass and he's totally blown away, right? Because it is the best deal. It has the most games. It is the best service. And you can see it. That's why I like this video. The first two videos that he did, and his other videos are good too. But I'm saying like that's somebody that's awakening to the realization that they've been lied to for the last, what has it been, unlimited, 14 years, however long Xbox One's been around, since 2013. Right. And but more recently, if I'm being honest, like the last 5 years. Right. And so then he had that awakening, dude. And it's wonderful to see because at the end of the day, regardless of how you feel about a console war and all this kind of stuff, this dude is a gamer. Right. And he's gonna get to enjoy games. And that's that's the direction I'm going at right now, dude. Because I'm listening to some guys that I like their opinions on certain things, right? But I'm gonna have to start putting some of these dudes in a box. I'm just being honest, man. Because at the end of the day, when I listen to them, when they talk about certain things, I'm like, okay, you're the dude I'll come to for the movies. You're the dude I'll listen to because I find you entertaining, even though I don't agree with you, right? There's just something about you that I like watching your content. And then this dude right there, he's just a hater. You know what I'm saying? So I'm making my adjustments as well. Unlimited Production says, when you're in power and you will get most of the smoke, it is what it is. If you can't handle it, resign. No, yeah, 100%. 100%, dude. 100%. But in a lot of cases right now, I'm going to do some the power has to come from the people. The people have to get involved, and unfortunately, the people have to educate themselves. Look, dude, I can talk about this stuff because I'm interested in it. Like how I like playing games, right? I like keeping up with politics, and again, it's not so much about ideology with me when it comes to politics. It's the cause and effect. It's the mechanizations. That's what I try and push on. That's why I'm trying to make perfectly clear to you guys who come across this channel. Again, everybody can have their opinions, but that's not the purpose of it. I share with you guys what I see and basically talk about it, right? And you guys can disagree with me on some of the stuff I say. I'm fine with that, dude. But just realize, right, that when I'm looking at these kind of things, dude, it's overall and generalized as well. Same. I don't stick with anything I don't like. I hated Death Stranding, so I uninstalled it and played games I enjoy. Yeah, 100% unlimited. And then sometimes with games, it's not really the game; it's me, right? Like I was telling you about how I feel about RTSs. I try to play some RTSs, and I'm just not good at it, dude. I just didn't want to suffer through it. Because you have to think a certain way, you have to play a certain way. I mean, some RTSs do a good job of introducing more story or keep me involved as far as the world that they're building. Halo Wars is a perfect example. Suck at the game, man, but I'll stick it out because I love Halo. I love the world, love the universe. I think the game does a great job taking that genre and really still keeping it Halo, right? And then with the story like Atriox and all that stuff was cool. And then you got a little bit more on the AI, so that makes me stuck it out, man. I'll die and then have to repeat stuff. And I will be honest, dude, they did. I know they dumbed it down, dude, because I didn't have as hard a time as with the first two Halos, especially the first Halo Wars. If I'm being honest, but still, or I could cheat and just go watch the clips on YouTube. But I wanted to experience that visceral feeling. Two Man says, What's up, brother?" Unlimited says, "What's up too?" Uh, yeah, Two Man shining you back out there, Unlimited. Yeah, Two Man, dude, welcome, brother. Just talking some politics this morning, but interesting enough, we'll probably will dive into the gaming too. Because look, dude, if you guys don't think Japan is gonna take advantage of these tariffs, hold on to your horses, man. That is past Japan, and for a good reason, dude. It'll affect them because it's my understanding. I haven't seen anything change because this stuff is changing all the time. I believe they're at the 25% tariff, so he didn't even do 10%. He went straight to 25. Right, and the reason he's doing that to Japan because Japan doesn't take any of our stuff. When Shinzo Abe was there and he was the prime minister, that's why Trump had a good relationship with him. Shinzo Abe would buy stuff, and then even the people there didn't like that, dude. Japan is its own cosmos, dude. Right? Some of the stuff that Shinzo did with Trump, like the Japanese people didn't like. Um, was questioning and stuff like that. But I don't know. I don't know. I think they pretty much miss him now, dude, because what they have now is not working out for them. They have a prime minister right now that's trying to cozy up to China, and a lot of the citizens of Japan don't like it at all. So I'm not saying everybody, but there's a strong feeling in the populace there that don't like it, and that's what it is, dude. And then it's funny, man, because talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows, politicians actually got involved in that, and the country was actually looking at that. And you have to realize, dude, this is why if you keep up with this stuff, dude, Japan has a lot of stuff going on with it right now. Dude. They're trying to figure out how they're going to control their tourism. They're trying to figure out their economy. And then you have all this stuff happening in real time, right? And they're just not happy right now. They're just not, dude. And it's funny. I feel bad for them, man, because their yen's very weak. I know a lot of people from Hawaii is taking advantage of it because they're flying over there to vacation. Hawaii and Japan has a pretty close relationship. A lot of the people in Japan come here too, so they're used to that local style as well as us going over there. But when it's come from other countries and they're having an immigration problem right now because they have population problems, they have multiple stuff going on. So try not to take it too close to heart with them, dude. A lot of this stuff is just bubbling over because of everything that's going on in their country, and that's a Japan thing, dude. They have to handle that. That's it's funny because there's a portion that don't want our military there, but they have no choice but to have our military there because of what's happening in the Pacific region with other bad actors in that region, and so it's an all-in-one situation, bro. So try and keep that in mind when when you don't get Square Enix on Xbox for another 3 years. they got stuff they got to work out over there. So um, Unlimited Projection says, "Yep, when I was on Twitter, I follow both sides and even both extremes. It never bothered me because I want to see what all points of the spectrum is." Yeah, Unlimited, and it's not going to change your core, man. That's one thing I like about you and Dia. Definitely Hebot. We know how Hebot is, and Sega Man, everybody, right? E-Rock. I would say 100, but 100. I said I know he doesn't like to get political, but and it's not doesn't have to be a politics. It's just your core beliefs, right? Um, and that's to me that's the best approach, man. Because if you see what's happening on Unlimited with everything, dude, and let me know if you want to jump in, dude. If you want to jump in, I'll send you the link. I'll be doing this for a little bit, but my point being is that if you look at everything that's going on right now with Nintendo, okay, it's not shocking to me, but a lot of people are like losing their minds, dude. Because and some of them, this is what I was trying to get my point across last night. What was pissing me off is a lot of these dudes are bad actors, and they're just ultra focused all the time on Xbox is bad, Xbox is bad, Xbox is evil, Xbox. They're gonna go broke, but they're also greedy. Um, the Game Pass sucks, but it's also the reason why Nintendo's going to charge $90 games, right? It's like, right. And when you have that type of mentality, dude, of course, where we are, especially in our group, man, we ultra focus on this stuff, man, and we know, right? We know how it is, right? So it doesn't. We're able to weather the storm, man. But these guys that are outside of this and haven't figured it out yet, when it comes to gaming, right? And how external situations can affect gaming, dude. They're the ones that get caught up in all of this stuff. Dude. And I'm not gonna lie. Like I said in the podcast, I've been enjoying it. It's been entertaining to me. I need something to do because solo leveling is. The season finale was last week, so I don't have no more solo leveling to watch. I look forward to that every week. Now I get to look forward to everybody losing their minds on 459. No, what was it? 459, $449 or $499 bundle pack, which probably will go up to $599 here in the U.S. Who knows how other countries are gonna do? I know, like what you said. I understand what you said last night, brother. But these other countries, I think right now at the current price in Canada, it's like $799 for the Nintendo Switch 2. That was before the tariff stuff. And I'm talking tariff Japan, not to mention that Canada has their own tariff issues that they got to deal with. It's crazy. And extremists think I'm both a snowflake liberal and a racist conservative. Yeah, dude, that's how you know. That's how you know you're in the middle. No, I'm definitely a conservative, right? But I also argue with people on the Trump side about that stuff because like people will say that Trump's a conservative, and I tell them he's not. He's a populist at best. And I'm not saying he has to be a conservative. He is who he is. But that's how I end up fighting with people on technically what quote unquote my own side, right? Because there's he's a conservative, dude. He just like the project whatever 1525 and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, no, dude, he's not, dude. Dude, just because he was a prior liberal, just like Elon Musk or some of the people now. These people are still liberal. They have liberal leanings. Trump has changed somewhat, right? But I think that's just more out of necessity. He's a businessman at the end of the day, right? He has libertarian leanings. He has some conservative leanings and some kind of liberal leanings, a little bit. He's definitely not the same person he was when I was growing up. And ultimately, it's not surprising to me because number one, he's older, and number two, I grew up in an era of Trump when he was about. Again, I say this all the time on the channel: campaign wishes and caviar dreams. Right? This dude is very he's business. He's all about the business and money. And as he's gotten older, he's his political leanings have shifted. But to sit there and he says like he's a Ronald Reagan, he's not. He's not nowhere near Ronald Reagan or Margaret Thatcher, right? That's the era I grew up in politics. That informed me most in politics. That's my age group, and I can say that unabashedly because he doesn't. He's not that. The funny thing I do is I tell people this, right? Especially people on the left, right? And they get pissed off at me when I tell them this, but I'm just being honest, right? Is he's a product of our time. Because again, I'm old, so I knew him. I grew up in his celebrity, and the person he is now is different from the person that he is back then. Like he says, he has some core beliefs that he had from back then, right? But again, as time has changed and the country has changed and our society has changed, he's become a product of that, right? And that's what's happening a lot with all these people. That's why it's shocking, right? You see how much people on the left hate Elon Musk and they're hating on a Joe Rogan and they're calling him right wing. And honestly, they just, it's not that they left their side, their side shifted and they're not down with that. There are no liberals in the left anymore. It's just the left. I grew up with liberals, dude, and you can have actual conversations with liberals. Not you can't do it anymore. What's up, Faded? Thanks for being here, brother. Crazy times, man. Tariffs made Nintendo pull out of that pre-order day. Yeah, dude, that's and some people are coming to that realization, Faded, man, but a lot of people are just stuck on they don't see it. And then the people that are commenting on it, again, this is what we were talking about last night in the podcast. Something I've come to the realization on it. People that are talking about Nintendo and trying to get political should not get political because they don't understand what's actually going on with tariffs. I'm not saying they have to like it. I'm just saying that they don't know the full extent of it or the picture of it. And again, dude, it's Japan, guys. Japan would take any reason to raise the price of their stuff. They charge a premium, and rightfully so. That is their right to do so. Now, what we have to do on your side or on my side or our side, I'll just say our side, right, is are you willing to pay that money? And that's the other aspect that I wanted to get in. We'll kind of shift right now. What I wanted to get in, what I was talking about last night in yesterday's podcast is what are you going to do now? Ultimately, that's what it's boiling down to, right? Because these countries are going to have to do what they need to do. So if there's something from a country like me and my coworkers were talking about it all week, right? They're going to plan to go down to some of the local shops here that specialize in Asian products and then buy in bulk, right? Bite the bullet, buy in bulk, right? Because they don't know how the tariffs are going to affect it. They probably will, right? My $1.89 somen noodles that I love to get, right? Those will probably be like $5, right? And of course, if you're used to paying 183, which I think is a fair price, right? When that stuff shifts to $5, I might have to start eating. I might have to start thinking about no carbs in my diet. Who knows how much the rice is going to be? But the rice is kind of varied. We get some from the mainland as well. But some of the good rice, right, like the sushi rice stuff or the high quality brand rice from Japan, like if you're a restaurant and stuff that you get, dude, that'll affect probably. You probably have to get the lower grade rice, and that could affect everything, dude. And again, I'm not celebrating it or bemoaning it. I'm. This is me looking at the cause and effect, like I talked about. Right. That's how I sit in all this kind of stuff, dude. I've been politically charged for a long time, to the point where I got jaded. Right. And the only thing that keeps me in tune with this is watching the mechanizations of everything that's going on. That's what I like about it. I love doing that in gaming as well. That's why I can keep on doing these podcasts. But yeah, Faded, you're right, dude. I mean, it's they put a whammy on that, and it was funny because I don't know if you knew this, but oh wait, let me see. Nintendo pissed off a lot of people this week. Yeah, so I don't know if you got to see. I wanted to watch the Mario Kart. See, I'm not a Nintendo guy. Forgive me. I stay in my lane, right? But the only time I have to go out and explore the world of Nintendo is because there's a new Pokemon coming out, and my daughter's gonna get it. Right? I gotta kind of educate myself because you can't trust GameStop. I'm sorry, GameStop is done for me, dude. So I have to do this on my own. So anyway, dude, I wanted to watch the Mario Kart Party World. Anytime a game franchise, because it should be what Mario Kart 35. Is that it's like all the Rocky jokes we made, Rocky 25, right? Back in the day, because there's so many Rocky movies, but there's so many Mario Karts, right? So I don't know what number they should be on, but normally when it's Mario Kart, it's a number, right? Or sometimes they want to switch it up because the number thing, the marketing tells them, oh, it's getting stale to use the number thing. But anyway, my point being is that they attached the tag world to the title, right? Am I right or wrong, guys? Just correct me in the comments. Mario Kart World. I think it is. Anyway, anytime they do that, dude, that when they include world, dude, I always think online. I think games as a service. That's how my mind automatically goes. And I'm not saying that's how it is, dude. But one thing I did say, and one thing I did recognize, it just reminded me a lot of Forza, and that was interesting to me. Forza Horizon. So I was interested to see some of the gameplay, but didn't have the time. And then my daughter started playing Avowed, so we got that. She's gonna try and beat that game before South of Midnight comes out on Game Pass. I'm trying to be the good dad, and I didn't go and buy South of Midnight. And I thought she might want it because of the guy. Anyway, that's a whole other story. But um, so we can kick off South at midnight next week, both of us. I'll finish Avowed this weekend. But I thought she might want to watch it, and then she started playing Avowed. She's gonna. I swear to God, I gotta beat the game this weekend, or she's gonna beat me. She's already in the second world, and so dude, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, so Mario Kart World. Um, just looking at that, I wanted to check it out. And what I heard was they had a live stream, and in the live stream, everybody was just going repeating over and over again, drop the price, 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 right? And it was so bad that not just the gaming media pick up on, the mainstream media is talking about right now. Then the mainstream media is also injecting their thoughts on the tariffs, right? This is why you see gamers now talking about tariffs that have no idea about politics, right? I feel bad for them because they're off. They're wrong. Most people I watch are wrong, right? They don't understand what's actually going on with this thing, but and they don't. You can tell they don't normally play Japanese games and stuff like that. But anyway, that's another thing. But that was the big thing, right? I wanted to watch that, and that's where it went. But to your point, Faded, I thought it was funny because Nintendo. I saw somebody share a clip that Nintendo actually showed on their official webpage. We're not dropping the price, and that should tell you. This is what we tell you on the Xbox side, dude. Japan is Japan. I definitely do. That's what I talk about Sony's attitude and Nintendo's attitude to an extent. But they're like, dude, no, we make this. You're gonna pay what we want you to pay, and it's up to you if you want to participate in that, right? So everybody was happy because they thought when they stopped it that they made a difference. And I thought that was funny because I was like, no, it's Nintendo. It's just like, you guys think too highly of yourselves that you're going to tell Nintendo what to do. Because if we're being honest, you never told Nintendo that for these last 10 years, right? And I'm not hating on Nintendo, dude. In fact, Nintendo does what Nintendo does. I have no skin in this game. I'm just pointing out something that I noticed when it comes to Nintendo is that you guys never check them. Just like you ponies never check them, right? You guys happy to check Xbox. You're happy to like shoot off an email to Phil. And one of the reasons you do that is Phil, you saw Xbox trying, right? Because they're nice, right? I would have told you guys to fly off a cliff, honestly, right? If I'm being 100%, that's what I would have told you guys. But you see now what happens, man, when you guys don't. This is what I tell you guys all the time, man, or the haters at least, right? Not you guys, but the haters out there. It's like, yeah, man, you're so ultra focused on Xbox and what Xbox is doing. You're not paying attention to your own console, and you believe in the stuff that they say, and then it comes around and bites you in the ass, right? Because you ultra focus on Xbox and what Xbox is or is not doing. How Xbox is going to go out of business. How Game Pass sucks. Even though you don't have the console, don't play any of the games, don't have any of the services, right? So this is karma for a lot of you guys out there, right? And not so much for the Nintendo dudes. Nintendo guys usually stay in their lanes, right? But I'm talking about the multi console guys. I'm even gonna throw the PC guys in there, dude. Look, no hate towards PC guys, man. But at the end of the day, dude, buy some games, bro. Go buy. Right. So some of them are upset about this whole Nintendo thing. I was like, why are you mad, dude? Nintendo ain't on PC, bro. If you want to play Nintendo, Nintendo is probably the purest company out there with what they tell you. Now, how you deal with that's up to you. Right? Like you guys know how I deal with it, dude. I don't have Nintendo or I don't have PlayStation. And you guys know about PlayStation. That's not fair because I just hate Sony. So that's not fair. But you guys know how I feel about Sony and PlayStation, right? So you guys saw my little April Fool's joke, which didn't go over. Right? There's bigger problems in the world, right? But I'm just saying, right? That's where I'm at, right? And so I chose to be in the Xbox ecosystem so I can do these things, dude. So when I want to buy South at Midnight, or if I don't buy South at Midnight because it's on Game Pass, or which I probably will buy it. But I'm trying to discipline myself. I want to beat Avowed, dude. I'm going to beat Avowed this weekend. That's a plus. I'm punishing myself for not finishing Avowed like I was supposed to. In fairness to me, dude, I have to finish that stupid COD Battle Pass. Never going to do that again. But you guys get my point, right? So, because I should have bought that. I wanted to play that day one. But if I played South at Midnight, I wouldn't have finished Avowed. So I put a whammy on myself, right? Because I got to discipline myself to get this stuff done. Unlimited says Japan has something like 100% tariffs on U.S. auto imports. They don't mess around. Oh, well, they don't take our stuff at all. Unlimited. That's the thing about Japan. Japan, they'll sell us their stuff, but they won't take our stuff. The only way they'll take our stuff, and this is what I say all the time, is you have to give them something that they really want. And that's why iPhones do well with that. There's stuff that they get from us. Either they really need it because they can't do it themselves, which is most countries, right? This is why America leads, right? Because of our innovation. But the other thing too is like something they really want and they can't. They it's like a brand thing. And so we have success in the Japanese market. It's just that, and then again, in fairness, man, they have their own industries there. Right. This is why I support the tariffs, right? Because I'm thinking we need to bring back our industries here. I'm old enough to remember, guys. I saw all our industries collapse in real time. There's a lot of stuff back then where people were pushing on the unions and the cost of stuff. Um, but we've had over 30 years to analyze all this stuff, and it didn't work out well for, there's some good stuff that came out of that. Most of it was bad, though. And one of the things, because I'm a firm believer in that. And again, if you guys went through the COVID, man, there was times where we didn't get masks or a lot of stuff that wasn't available because we get all our stuff made in China, and China used that opportunity to put the screws on us. So we need to decouple. I'm not decouple. We need to get. We're done with China, dude. I'm so done with China, dude. I hunt out. If something comes from China, I don't buy it, and that's hard. That's hard nowadays. That's why I'm pushing for this kind of stuff. I want stuff built here. I'll even pay more here, right? I'll pay more here, but in the long run, dude, if this stuff can drive down some of these imbalances and stuff like that, I'm all for it. I know some people don't agree with me, but that's where I'm at because I'm already paying premium. You feel me, right? So what I'm banking on is that, and especially with this new generation, this the Gen Z generation, especially because they're coming up now. They're coming to that age group where they're going to have to start making those choices, getting out of college, what they're going to do, not do. And I want to see a swath of entrepreneurials, man, that'll blow up in this country. That was something that Gen X experienced. Since nobody was paying attention to us, which I think is probably was the best thing. This is why a lot of your CEOs, a lot of your tech people, a lot of the people that are the movers and shakers, dude, are from that Gen X generation. The audio to translating into digital, especially on the tech side, that's where we're coming from. Oh, unlimited. Did you? I'll just send you. I'll send you. In fact, I'll send. Wait, let me. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm getting distracted. Yeah, unlimited. It's yeah, that's what they do. They're not the only ones too. That's why he brought out that chart and I was telling people. Then you had these experts come out. Well, but the trade and they try to over analyze it. And I'm like, bro, you're over analyzing. You might be right, but it's going to go over everybody's head, and people are not going to pay attention to you. Americans are very simple in their thinking. They want you to break it down for them, explain it, and then stick to what you say. That's the main thing. If you can't do that, dude, you're losing. Unlimited production. No, Square Enix on Xbox is going to hurt Square more than Xbox, so they can make their bid on the internet. Yeah, and I think they've experienced it, right? Unlimited, dude. And that's the old thinking. Even what's his name? We talked about that, bro. Our boy, man. I can't think of his name right now, dude. Would say that all the time, and he was right, dude. And I told him he was right. You had the old guard that still do stuff like that, dude, and they suffer for it. But they got smart and they got a newer, younger guy. Same thing with Sega. Sega got wise to it. They're like, hey, you know what? We can make if we want to make money, we have to sell like to more places. Yeah, it's called the market, guys. It's not complicated. I'm not a financial whiz, but I know that much. So I was sticking chat. Just got home, so I'm about to click out the minute. Oh yeah, no worries, bro. No worries. Thanks for jumping in, man. Thanks for the commentary, bro. I say this, man, about my group, our group of people, man. Respect everybody in our group. Fire Force season 3 is coming, dude. I haven't even finished one. Faded. I gotta get back on that. I need to get back on some of these issues because I end up just rewatching Solo Leveling, and then I got the book, so I've been doing the compare and contrast. But I need to, I need to watch some stuff, dude. And there's a couple other animes I found, but unlike like what I did with Solo Leveling, dude, I try and let them build. And before I watch them, so I want to watch them all at one time, dude. I don't like waiting week to week. Solo Leveling was one of those exceptions. But yeah, I'll check it out, dude. I'll finish season 1. In fact, Xbox, I think, have them on sale. Like this is one of the animes that's on sale on Xbox for like $4.99. A lot of times when they have anime month or Xbox, dude. Xbox is just, dude, they just be selling stuff left and right, dude. Again, another great thing about the ecosystem. That's why I'm not concerned about that. Unlimited production. It's going to be a bloodbath when Switch 2 is more expensive than the Series X. Oh, bro. I wanted to say this last night. We might be able to buy Switches. I think even the scalpers are going to avoid it if that thing's like $600. If you want to buy it, I'm gonna have to have a talk with my daughter. I was like, I love you, but might have to because I could see it being $600, dude. And then what's going to happen is our game plan of turning things in, because I see that happening with GameStop already. They're lessening the trading value, right? Because they don't want to take a bath on the actual hardware. It's crazy, man. See, the economics is everywhere, guys. So it's in your best interest to do some study, and then again, not you don't have to agree with me or my viewpoints or my psychotic, according to people in the like I Unlimited said earlier, I'm a right wing nut job, right? Or like so, some people are accusing me of defending Assassin's Creed Shadows. Yo, bro, it's your money, dude. If the woke stuff in Assassin's Creed Shadow bothers you, or your definition of woke is in that game bothers you, then don't buy it. Dude, let's go. Let's do it, dude. Let's There was a time where it would be cool to have these debates, but a lot of you guys are absolutely psychotic. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Can't have honest debates with you. Most of you guys ain't gamers anyway. I know I keep on saying that on the channel, but I found that out years ago, and it's only gotten worse. Right? You guys don't play games. You guys aren't into the culture of gaming. I have a gaming lifestyle, and I'm dialed into the culture. This is why I can look at something like Assassin's Creed Shadows, maybe not agree with everything, or a better example is Avowed. Right? Don't like the gay stuff in Avowed. You guys know I talk about that on the channel all the time. And if the gay stuff bothers you, because it does bother me, right? And that's because of my own personal beliefs, my Christian beliefs, right? I don't agree with that lifestyle at all. Plus, I think it goes a little bit deeper than that. But if I'm being honest, Avowed kind of dabbles in it, right? What Microsoft is trying to do, not saying I agree with it, is they're trying to find something for everybody, right? But sometimes when you try and be something for everybody, nobody likes you. I'm just being honest. But if I'm being honest, I was like, look, dude, everything else solid about the game. I can't complain, and I won't, and I play through it just so I can have this opinion. I force myself to play it because yes, I believe the stuff that they put in there, it ruins it for me just for the simple fact that it feels forced, right? It's not even natural. Like I just bought Cruella. It was $4.99. Like Disney movies never go on sale. Cruella is one of my favorite modern Disney movies that they made. One of the few. Bought it. Love Emma Stone. I wear a lot of different hats when I watch movies. You guys know I'm a Disney fan. I love Disney movies. Their quality is dropped off, but I also like certain actors and actresses, and people that certain directors, certain story writers, and Cruella had a perfect combination of all of this stuff, and did the property justice. Now, in fairness, it wasn't as hard as other properties with Disney because Cruella doesn't have much of a backstory, but I think they did an excellent job, and so I played it. Okay, or I mean, I watched it and I loved it. And in fact, I watched it multiple times, and so Disney has it on sale right now. I believe for $7.99, or it was last week. I don't know. Xbox sales be like Xbox sales be nuts sometimes, but sometimes they'd be like, oh, it's ending in 3 days. So you gotta, I recommend you guys always check out that Microsoft store if you guys want to get deals. And again, if you buy stuff, no matter how much it is, you get like this little bump back from Microsoft. That's how you build up your Bing points, and that's how you can pay for stuff that you don't want to pay for. Right? And Microsoft, and don't feel bad. Microsoft understands that. That's why they do what they do. It's almost like a Walmart/Target mentality when they do stuff, right? They're trying to cover all their bases because they know money can come from anywhere, and I think that's just great business, right? But at the end of the day, dude, I played about everything is solid on there. That's why I gave it. Normally, I don't give a score, a number score, but I just want to kind of like try and put it into perspective for you guys. I give it an 8 out of 10 because there's some stuff I think that they can work on. But for the most part, most of my critiques aren't really critiques. Most of it is just having to do with them expanding the universe because this is their first foray into a AA triple A game. And some stuff they knock it out of the park. Dude, it's a fun game. You have Game Pass, you have no excuse not to play, unless the gay stuff bothers you that much. That's the only knock I have on it from my perspective. All right. But if I'm not, I went through that to because I need to know. Because at the end of the day, guys, I'm a gamer, which is my original point. It's all about gaming. And some of these people I can't follow them anymore, dude, because they're not about gaming, right? They have big channels, they talk about gaming, but it's just something to talk about to them, and I'm beyond that. Faded Blaze says countries are already lining up to make deals with Trump. Yeah, they have to, especially certain one of them. It wasn't surprising to me, like Vietnam, Cambodia, bro. They're trying to hide it. They're trying to hang on to that 5%. Because look, at the end of the day, the country's got to do what's good for them. So that's not. Like when I talk to people, they're like, "Oh, you just hate this country. You just want them to bow to our power." I'm like, "Bro, what power? What power? Dude? Like there is no power imbalance between us and Cambodia and Vietnam. In fact, Vietnam and Cambodia, if you guys did not know that, they're trying to get closer to us, not because of tariffs. Yeah, the tariffs will affect them, but because of China. That's why we've become closer with them. And this is what Trump talks about when he talks about leverage. I'm not saying you have to agree with it. Again, you come to your own conclusion, and I'm not here to tell you how to think, but I'm just laying the groundwork. It goes beyond just the economy. There's a lot of stuff China's doing, man. Everybody's worried right now that they're going to go ahead and pull the trigger on Taiwan. And why does that matter, dude? Taiwan, you have the Taiwan Straits. Um, China says they already own all of the China Sea, quote unquote, even up to the 9-line. If you guys know what the 9-line is, right? Is most countries have this 9-line, and they or China wrote this 9-line that they own all the sea, even up until another country's shoreline. That's what China believes. Right? And people tried to work with China, then they found out really quickly that China's communist, right? Even Biden realized that they're communists and tried to decouple from them, man, because they're hurting our bottom line. And then they also shifted. A lot of people shifted to other countries. That's why China's economy is suffering now too. It's not just about Trump or Trump being in office or Trump's tariffs, dude. There's a lot of geopolitical things going on in that side of the world. I keep up with it because I live in the Pacific. So if stuff jumps off, dude, it'll be, we just all our bases are here. So we'll be high speed here. And also China has ICBMs, just so you guys know. If you don't know what ICBM is, intercontinental ballistic missile. So they have the capability to hit anywhere in the U.S. And we are rocking the middle Pacific where I live, and we'll sink. They hit us with one of those, dude. We're going down. Unlimited production. I would throw PC guys in there because they want to be in this. They can't be in the mud and want to stay clean. It don't work like that. Yeah, dude. That's another thing that's irritating me. And look, and this is not a thing. I'm trying not to categorize all PC dudes, but you guys know, man, these dudes are coming in, right? They want to sling mud, but they don't want to get dirty, like you said, bro. So no, you get that work too. Right? I'm sitting here listening to you guys complain about the price. I'm like, yeah, but why do you care, right? You have your PC, you have Steam, dude. Steam is awesome. You have even Xbox. Microsoft bends over backwards for you guys, dude. So, dude, I feel some way, but I feel like we supplement. I ain't gonna lie, man. We be supplementing them sometimes, but I don't care. But if you're gonna stand there, dude, and complain about Nintendo, dude, go buy. I want to see you, dude. If you're that hardcore about it, dude, I want to see you buy a Nintendo and then actually buy one game, just one game. Buy the bundle pack. It'll probably be $799 when it launches, right? But at least you got the game, so you can be, then I'll take you a little bit more seriously. But up until that time, dude, stay in your lane, bro. But some of these dudes are going off on this stuff. I'm like, bro, you shouldn't even be. Respect, dude. That street goes both ways, man. You stay in your lane, we stay in our lane. Man, it's irritating me, brother. It's irritating me, man. I'm sitting there listening to these guys. I'm like, bro, you don't even. You unless you what do you call that? Emulate it, right? I don't know if that's impossible. He-Bot could talk about it more than I can. But I'm just saying, unless you emulating it or pirating it somehow, dude, you're not gonna get it on your PC, dude. Nintendo ain't gonna put their stuff on PC. They just don't. Dude, this is why everybody's so mad, and this is why I'm mad that they mad because Nintendo does this, have been doing this as long as I've known Nintendo. Growing up from back in the day with Nintendo. They're never going to change, bro. And it's like everybody woke up one day and was like, oh man, Nintendo's greedy. Or Nintendo's prices don't change. Hold on, guys. Let this dude pass. It's a Saturday morning where I live when you hear that sound. That dude has some good food, I ain't going to lie, man. But I just can't hang with it anymore. I'll eat a plate lunch and then I'll have a heart attack. So, you know what I'm saying? They just woke up one morning and realized this when we've been talking about this the whole time. And of course, we're on the Xbox side, so we have a certain way that we have to approach this as well, man, because they be throwing this in our face. Not really the Nintendo guys, most of the multi-console guys. And that's another thing, dude, I love about all this stuff, man. That's what I was trying to say last night, right? Is that I love multi-console owners, dude. When I was a multi-console owner, dude, I bought everything. If I wanted it, I bought it, and I played it. Now you guys are going to have to step your game up, man. But a lot of you guys, again, you say you're multi-console, you don't believe in console war, you don't like any of this stuff, but you participated all the time when something goes off, right? And you guys have your opinions, right? But then you don't live that lifestyle. So a lot of you guys just need to Just pick a side already, dude. Just pick one. Because there's no way you guys can afford all this kind of stuff. Again, like I said last time on the video, dude, I see the background on some of your videos, dude. You have multiple stuff going on. And unless your dad rich or you rich, you hit a lottery or you OnlyFans person, I don't know what you do to get your money, but maybe you got it that way, then that's fine. Right? But if you have it that way, why are you complaining? Just buy everything. Right? But I know a lot of you guys is complaining because you can't. Now it's not you won't pay that money, which is bad, but you can't pay that money as well. So it's a double whammy. Right? Dude, life isn't free. That's one of the things you're gonna find out about these tariffs coming in real quick. For me, dude, I think it's a wake-up call people need. I'll be honest with you guys. Know your worth. I say that all the time on my channel, dude. Know your worth. Know what you're worth. Right? And a lot of you guys are gonna find out real quick. I already live in an ultra-inflated state by choice. These people do this stuff by choice, and I'm stuck here living it. Enjoy where you at, Unlimited Production, man. You guys doing it right, bro. And I see some of your stuff creeped up, but man, you can't hold a candle to what we be doing over here, bro. This place is ridiculous. And I'm supposed to agree with it just because we have sunshine and a beach? Man, screw that. I don't even like going to the beach. I don't swim. There's sharks in the water, bro. You know how bad the economy is, man? Sharks be coming into the harbor now because they can't find fish. China be coming over here sneaking and grabbing all that fish. And what do we do? Oh, you know, what can we do? I was like, dude, I'm a native, dude, and you ban me from fishing. Meanwhile, you let this other country come in and take our fish. Man, screw you guys. Anyway, that's a local thing. Sorry. Quick resume means I play 5 games at a time and rotate. Yeah, dude. Quick resume is awesome. I ain't, brother. You saw me last night struggling to put a video up. And thanks for putting that video up. If it wasn't for you, dude, they would have been waiting another 10 minutes. We probably would have had a 5-hour podcast if I had been trying to do that. But yes, quick resume is awesome, dude. Quick resume saved me, man. Because sometimes I was like, oh, I thought I saved that. I didn't. So I ain't gonna hate on quick resume. And I didn't think quick resume would matter that much to me. I was pleasantly wrong. Hey, Daniel, what's up, brother? I see UCLA got smashed. Is that true? That's what I saw before I jumped on this podcast. UConn just took them out. I'd be liking women's basketball, dude. Women was like the 70s dudes. They'd be pulling hair, biting, calling each other racist names, punching each other in the face. Man, that white girl can't play. Man, she had that nappy hair. That's the basketball I grew up with, man. Being on the court, being called a pineapple. I loved it. Man, or I used to get miss racist. What do they call that? I used to get miss. People didn't know what I was, man. So I would suffer the racism of another race, usually Hispanic. Man, so I get that Puerto Rican. We had McLaren Circle playing some ball, man. All the brothers over there, they'd be like, somebody get that Puerto Rican, man. That's the basketball I grew up with, Daniel. I miss those days. These people be flopping all over. Anyway, I'm old. I'll probably get canceled for that. I don't care. I get canceled. I can actually finish the vow. Unlimited Production says maybe just maybe it's smart to work with $3 trillion company than Sony, which is so far past their heyday. Sony might as well be in a retirement home. Yeah, dude. And but you know, I give them credit, brother. They hanging on. They holding it. They grasping it with every fiber of their being. Dude, they're stubborn, dude. They are stubborn. And it's because that's Sony, dude. They're the center of attention, even in their own eyes, and that's bad. It's bad enough that their fans do it, but their company does that as well. Instead of adjusting, dude. Again, I've always said this, dude. I think they're 1 foot in the grave, and we will celebrate when they finally go away. People are too extreme and take things too personal to have honest conversations. Yeah, and understandably so, Unlimited Production, because we have a society now. I'm talking about America specifically that raised people that way. Again, that's what I said earlier about Trump. He's a product of our time. Because people on the right side want him to be Reagan, and he's not going to be Reagan. Reagan couldn't win in today's society. He's too nice. That's what I kind of complain about with Phil, right? I wish Phil was a little bit more hardcore. But when you have trillions of dollars, like you said, right, you can afford to be nice. Yeah, that's what I said yesterday on X. When somebody's questioning me, I was like, yeah, you're right, dude. That's why Phil, he's doing interviews right now, and then I fall asleep on my couch watching YouTube videos. Knights of Cipher. What's up, brother? Hey, welcome to the show. Knights of Cipher. Steam plus Game Packs equal the ultimate gaming experience. Yeah, yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you, Knight of Cipher. And again, for the PC guys out there, dude, that's one of the perks that you get, man, that you can be fluent in your gaming, right? And then I don't know what's going to happen with. Oh, there we go. You guys hear that? My war on the birds continues, man. We have these invasive species. Some of you might know them as parakeets. These things are evil, man. I wish death upon them all. I know they are one of God's creations, but they need to die. If I could if we didn't have strict gun laws, they'd be gone already. See, and I live on federal property, so I have to be careful. I was thinking about sneakily getting some poison, but that could come back to bite me. So I'm doing the proper way to do it. I'm using sonic sounds. Every once in a while, this truck will come by. It's irritating on my video, but it helps with the birds because the birds run away real quick because they don't like the sound. That's what made me think about this sonic um, thing to use, and it's working. Only thing I can't put it on the other side of my house. So what I did was I'm gonna go for the smell-o-vision. I'm gonna go for the chemical warfare. Use some grapeseed oil. I'm gonna put that in the attic and see if that works. I'll keep you guys updated. But yeah, dude, I want to see what happens with Xbox and Steam, or Microsoft and Steam, because I think there's a connection there. I agree with Dia, what she was saying, 100%. Unlimited Production said this isn't exclusive to left or right. I interacted with right wingers who get so upset over everything. They're also snowflakes. Oh yeah, 100%. There's a difference from criticism and whining over everything. Yeah, it's just from my experience, dude. It's more like the left hand side. Because what's happening is like the left can't, they don't hold the cards anymore. They don't have a lock on it. It's like PlayStation. You see that with PlayStation guys right now, right? They can see they're losing their grip on it, on the narrative. So they go nuclear. But there's both sides. I agree. I deal with it on my side as well. Some people want me to care about stuff more than I need to. And I'm like, no, dude, it doesn't matter to me. They get pissed off. Yeah. Well, I thought you was a true believer. I'm like, bro, I don't care. I don't. Like, so you can't care about everything, dude. And I don't care what people, again, with the tariffs, dude. People, the other countries, what they're trying to do with the tariffs, they're doing what they need to do for their country, right? And a lot of the changes that needed, dude, Trump can't. Whether Trump does tariff hardcore or doesn't do tariff hardcore, whether he taxes you like how he did with the the EU. Because if you guys didn't know, like for example, a lot of people are shocked that we don't sell our cars over there, but they can put their stuff here. A lot of people finding a lot of things about what happens with the tariffs that we make, right? We've always just allowed it to happen, and now we're drawing the line. Something I wish Xbox and Microsoft would do. I digress. But at some point, right, that's where we are now. So when you hear Trump say, "Oh, well, I'm going to do a 35% tariff," and then people are like, "35% tariff," and this is people here in the U.S. And then then they see, "Oh, well, what do you mean we can't sell our cars there?" Yeah, so you didn't know, right? You see what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, regardless of what Trump does with the tariffs, dude, it ultimately resides with those countries, right? Like, as you guys know, if you follow Trump, dude, he don't like woke, right? He ran roughshod. I'm telling you, dude, I saw that in the federal level. He ran roughshod over all that stuff, dude. Full stop. Gross point blank, bam, right there, boom, dude. I saw it. He wrote a memo the next day, dude. It was I was turned into removing stuff. It was that instant. So you gotta realize if you don't like woke here in the United States, you think he's gonna deal with that from another country? No, that's another thing none of these guys are picking up on. It's a multitude of things that he's doing, but he's not. If he's gonna clean out his own country, do you think he's gonna work with liberal governments from other countries? No, he's not. Right. That's why USAID have to go. That's why he's destroying all these government entities, right? Because they participate in that kind of stuff, and they work with other countries to participate. Dude, the stuff's coming out every day. You see it. You won't see it in the mainstream media, so you got to do some research, right? And that's what's happening, dude. And he's not going to allow that to happen. Not when he's president. Now, 4 years he has. I don't know what happens the next 4 years, but this is what he's doing, dude. That's why he's working ultra fast speed. And just to let you guys know, dude, it hasn't only been a couple months. Some people are losing their minds right now. You guys ain't gonna make it. You guys need to tone down. Even the people that support him need to tone it down a little bit, man. Because this we not even. What are we? 3 months? Was it January, February, March? Dude, it's almost like. What's today? No, today 4 months. It's 4 months exactly. January, February, March, April. 4 months. Right. And you see what he does, dude. Like the whole thing. right? For April 2nd, Liberation Day, all this kind of stuff, dude. My point being is that for these other countries, they're gonna have to do what they're gonna do because they have their own issues. Like I sympathize for the people in Canada, I really do, because they're at where we were 4 years ago as far as economy, right? And they were already worse than us, and now this just double tripling down, dude. I tell you, man, go research some videos of people in Canada talking about their grocery bills. I hate to say it, but it made me feel better because I think I pay an exuberant amount of money for the stuff that I buy, right? $100 for stuff. These dudes are barely buying anything, and they're like at $95. So misery loves company, I guess. But I'm just saying, right? And you just expand your horizons a little bit, dude. Take it for what it is. But a lot of these countries are still going to have problems because it's not about us. They relied on us way too much. That's what you see happening in the European Union, dude, with their defense. Right? They relied on us, and relying on us allowed them to do all the stuff that they were able to do, right? And this is why they would tell it, you fat Americans, all you guys do is eat hamburger, and look how much you got to pay for your medical. Right? Look how much you guys don't have national health care, whatever that they have. Now look at what's happening, dude. Trump said, "Yeah, we're gonna tariff you 25%." Now they're losing their mind. Now everything that they have, dude, is right now like our defense. That Trump is saying, "No, we ain't gonna go to war with Russia, and you're not gonna put Ukraine in NATO." So then EU man feeling themselves thumping their chest and say, "Well, we're gonna go. We're gonna do this. We're gonna send troops." And we like, yeah, okay, try. Let's see what you got. I'm game. I'm like that with sports, dude. I'd be like, all right, bro. Oh, you think you all right? You on the second string quarterback, and it's your moment, dude. First string got hurt. He's out of the game. You've been talking all this yin yang. Yeah, I'm talking about Steve Young. You're talking all this yin yang. Let's see what you got. Now, it worked out for Steve Young. It might work out for you, right? But I'm just saying, dude. That's where the rubber meets the road, dude. Right? Let's see what you got. By the way, most of your equipment comes from us anyway. Right, because that's how intertwined we are, man. That's how intertwined we are, and I don't think I don't mind it, bro. But I mean, on both sides, either our side or that side, dude. Countries you need to take care of yourself, man. I've always been a firm believer in that, dude. And they've relied on us too much. We've relied on them for stuff too much, and it's time for us to have a reality check, dude. I want production. I wanted this. I've talked about this for years, maybe not on this channel, but in discussions I have politically with people all the time, to the digress of the people on the right who call me like unlimited, like you said, call me not a snowflake man, but they call me a communist. Absolutely, they don't like communism, but because of my stances on bringing production back to the U.S. and my viewpoint has always been like how you hear people talking about national security. That's one thing, but we need to make stuff, dude. That's what we are. That's our culture, dude. America as a country, as a culture, we have to be who we are. And that's a pioneering spirit. But we got lazy, we got comfortable, right? We want to be all inclusive and stuff like that, and change the culture of what it is. We need to get back to that. That's why for some of you guys know that, I'm not a big green energy guy, and some of the people that go, "Why do you like Musk?" It's not so much I can respect Musk for what he does because I like people that are futurists like he is. But I tell you guys all the time, dude, I ain't putting no chip in my head. I ain't gonna be no cyborg, half human. I don't care how bad my body gets. I ain't doing it. I was given this body by God. That's just that you. I've been blessed my entire life, man. I'm just in the twilight. I'm older. I'm a half life cycle, halfway over, man, and I'm dealing with the reality of that. Now, I'm not saying that there's not good that's coming out of this stuff, but I'm not gonna be putting chips in my head. No, sorry, I don't care. I'm not gonna be flying to Mars. I think it's necessary. Right, I think because of the pioneering spirit of the country and the way this country was founded, whether you agree with it or not, but that's ingrained in our DNA as Americans, right? So that kind of stuff I support. Am I going to be on the rocky ship? No, I'm going to stay right where I am. That's not my culture. That's not what I'm about. I'm about my family. I'm about doing my job, doing my work, living my life. But there are other people in the country that'll do it, and those are the people we celebrate. I'll never buy a Tesla. I never liked Teslas from the jump. I drive Hondas. Do I like Hondas? Yeah, just because they cost less and right. They have low maintenance, right? So with all the tariffs on the cars, right? I'm looking to buy an American car, right? But I know what that comes with, man. So we're gonna have to step up our game when it comes to that stuff, bro. I'm sorry, I'm falling off the thing. Let me get back on chat. Unlimited Production says Nintendo used to strong arm third party and was accused of a monopoly in the 90s. Sega saved us from a world of Nintendo control. Yep, 100%, dude. And then when the free agency came into the market via Sony with the third party stuff, right? And then publishers got publishers and developers got a place on the field. That changed a lot of the stuff too. And of course, Sega's connection to the arcade. That was their real superpower at that time, and their innovation. Yep, 100%, dude. Things change. Things are always in flux. That's why you hear people now trying to bring that up that Nintendo's feeling themselves too much. I'm like, no, I don't think so. Nintendo's always been this way, and to a fault. I get it, to a fault, but that's how they are. And again, the only reason I get upset about that is a lot of you guys are talking about this now, which tells me that you guys don't really engage in the culture of gaming. Unlimited Production says, among many, many, many things Nintendo has done, we can do a whole 10-hour podcast on Nintendo consoles over the decades. Yeah, yeah. There's a history of that. There's a history of that, Unlimited, 100%. Where I'm at right now with Nintendo, since I've already chosen, like in 2013, I chose Xbox. Right, that was the closest thing to Sega that I felt I was ever gonna get, and they've not disappointed me one bit, if I'm being honest. Whoa, hold on, guys. 1 second, I'll be right back. Sorry, guys, expecting a package. Got to sign for it. But yeah, so I'm on 10-hour podcast. We definitely could, and I'll let you all run it too, man, because I would like to hear your perspective on it. Knights of Cyber says, PC people see Microsoft and Xbox in a pro consumer light. I'm in the PC gaming community. Yeah, Dia, who's a part of our group, she's a PC gamer as well, right? And that's why I tried to say in the beginning, Night, that it's not. I'm not trying to generalize when it comes to PC people, because these are generalizing with console people. But that's just one of my pet peeves. And that's why I use the term multi-console, because a lot of these guys I'm seeing talking about it, they do multiple things with gaming. And at some point in time, dude, you're gonna have to, not you, but people that do that, are gonna have to decide. Like I said, I use myself as an example. That's why I went all in on Xbox, and it's worked out for me. Sometimes it doesn't work out for everybody. And I see all the time. One thing I love about having PC guys with the Xbox community is I'm able to connect on online gaming, our online gaming infrastructure, as far as not infrastructure, but our online gaming, being able to get into games. Of course, a lot of the games that I play, if you have the more people you have, the better the chances of the game is to continue, especially if it's a game you like. And that's how I experienced Dark Tide, dude. There's hardly anybody, and I'm not saying there weren't Xbox guys, but everybody, and it's probably because of my location. When I played Dark Tide, there was a lot of PC. You can see the emblem. It's all PC guys mostly. So, that cross pollination I love. And I think on some aspects, right, we're going to start cross pollinating with the PlayStation guys. And honestly, I don't have a problem with that, because it won't be ponies. There's a large group of people. This is what the ponies don't understand, or they don't want to acknowledge, is that in their community, they're a small fraction. They're a minority. They're very vocal and very toxic. But the majority of the people there are just the casuals. Because those casuals are the ones that came from the 360 as well, that transition. So, unlimited. I'll get on the chat now, guys. Just so we can go through this too, and I wanted to see the commentary. Unlimited said a lot of the multi-console owners prefer PlayStation. Oh, I just was just saying, own all consoles, and I always say in their video, I don't really play my Xbox. They own all three consoles for clout. I mainly play 90% of the time. Yeah. There's a dude I like, man, Tyrone Magnus. I love him for his pop culture stuff. Gaming, you can tell he's a PlayStation guy, and then he made that comment too on his latest video. Because they always have to throw Xbox in. It has nothing to, that's what blows me away, right? Because he's like, well, my Xbox is down there collecting dust. And when people tell me that, and this is no averse, I like, look, dude, check out Tyrone's. Tyrone's a talented dude. I love watching his stuff because he's entertaining as well. Seems like a really cool dude. But again, when he says that, that tells me he's not a gamer. You know what I mean? So, and I've listened to his videos, dude. He kind of holds everybody accountable. But I can tell he's not an Xbox guy. And he's made comments to, because some of the people that watch him are Xbox guys. Like, yeah, you should try this game. And he's kind of negative on it. Then you watch him talk about a PlayStation game, which isn't as good. But you know what I'm saying? You can tell. You read the tea leaves, dude. Cool dude, but that's what I was talking about a little earlier when when these people are telling me something about something I actually participate in. Like all of us do as Xbox guys. So. But that's a great comment. Unlimited also says Texas has a lot going for it, which is why the population is booming. But Greg Abbott and Ted Cruz are corrupt and need to be voted out. Things can be even better without people like them in office. Yeah, that's and brother, that's something that you guys got to work on. You're in the same boat that I'm in. I'm not saying look, I don't know much about Greg Abbott because I don't live in your state. But where I can identify is we have that problem here in Hawaii, and the people have to change that. That's actually why I believe in states' rights, guys. Because if you keep it at that level, eventually people will it'll affect you more directly, and you can make the change at that state level. I know you're a big Republican state, bro. I don't, good luck with that, bro. Like I call Hawaii Blue Hawaii, not because of Elvis. I love Elvis. I love the King, but that has nothing to do with the King and Blue Hawaii that way. It's just deep blue here, man. It'll never change. So that's why I might have to make a change later on in life, too, when I retire. I don't want to be like living paycheck to paycheck here. And that's what all my benefits and retirement, dude. And it's ridiculous now, dude. I'm just calculating 20 years from now, bro. Well, come on, man. How is it going to be? It's crazy. Unlimited Production says, I don't think people realize that the U.S. has essentially protected the world since World War II. People know we have a large foothold, but they don't realize we prevent even more wars. Yeah, 100%. We project power, and we've always project power since World War II. And a lot of that was by design, and for that time, it was, in my opinion, needed, right? Especially with what happened with communism, was trying to get a grip on the country, on the world. It shifted from the Nazis and the socialists, right, and then it was shifting over to communism. And so we were that, and why NATO, and or I think it was the League of Nations. So we didn't want to go through that. That's how devastating World War One and World War Two. World War One was bad. World War Two took it to that next level, and after losing the way that was, dude, nobody wanted to go back to that. But as you know, Unlimited, as time moves on, people tend to forget. That's what I'm looking at with EU, right? So a lot of this, there's a lot of give and take with the way the world system is set up as far as us. For me, I talk about this all the time on our channel, guys. I prefer us to be in the lead. I don't trust anybody else, even with our own faults. Right? And people are finding that out the hard way with China. China's had made deals in Africa, in the South Pacific, right, in Southeast Asia, and a lot of these countries are realizing that they're not us. When you have something look, dude, anybody gets fatigued, right? And with America, people, when you listen to them, some of it is some of it's out of jealousy, dude. Look, dude, if you live in a situation where you have somebody, you have to depend on somebody. Sometimes you resent that inwardly. You might not even realize it, but you do, right? And that's what America's been, man. Because America's been there for the globe, for as far as like defense, economy. Do when anything pops up in the world, we the first country there. We the one that for the most part donates the most money, right? We've always there to support and help. We usually stand, like Captain America, bro. That's why I love the Captain America movie and the series of movies, especially the first one, dude. That's, to me, that's our foreign policy in a nutshell. When the scientists ask Captain America, "Oh, so you want to kill Nazis?" And Captain America looks at him and says, "I don't want to kill anybody. I just don't like bullies." We've always been that country to step up because it's the right thing to do. Right? And then a lot of people relied on us to do that, but the times have changed and everything's in flux. It should have shifted a while ago. Other countries have become dependent, and I'll be honest with you, they've gone lazy depending on us. And some of it that's on us too because of our foreign policy. Right? We never shifted as well. And unfortunately, we shifted now. We shifted, dude. It's like we didn't stop, and we're not doing a slow turnaround, dude. We're doing a 180, and everybody's head spinning. It's crazy. Yeah, but 100's great comment on me. We shifted from a manufacturing country to a service country after post World War II boom, and corporations got cheaper labor overseas. Yeah, 100%, 100%, brother. And that's why a lot of the pain is going to come from shifting back. Night of Cipher. A service economy is a sign of a more wealthy economy. I'm not going to disagree with you on that, Cipher, but it also comes with its problems, which what we suffered. And that's what got exposed during the pandemic. I remember, dude, when people were waiting for the masks to come in, they're coming from China. China just turned that boat around and said they needed it. That's one of the reasons we became a superpower, right? We kind of did that to Great Britain. We surpassed them. And a lot of it, remember, guys, a lot of this stuff comes out of necessity. As they say, necessity is the mother of all invention. And we need to get back to that. Because it's in our DNA, guys. This is why I support some of the stuff I support. I'm not going to participate in it. Like I said, I ain't going to jump on no rocket ship and go to Mars. Unless they give me a free house and the cost of living is better there. And age is like $1, maybe. I think about it. I probably won't make the flight, though. I'm old. Right? But you have people, when people ask me, like, why you see so much violence and you see stuff on video, look, it's a secular problem that we need to deal with and stuff like that. But I think, especially for our younger generation of men, they're coming up, right? And they don't have anything where they can, explode upon, right? Like get that out of their system. That's why they be doing some mischievous stuff like that. Give them something, man. Let them go out. Let them conquer. Let them explore. Give them something to do. Like take that energy and put it to more positive uses. That's why sports is good, right? That's why UFC blew up the way that it did. It allowed people to legally to do something that if you did it in public, you get arrested for. But you can do it under the under the premise of a sport, right? You know what I'm saying? Just being honest, right? You can't really, can't really throw, right? And then you don't want to nowadays, right? You don't know what the other person's going to do, but in a controlled environment, it allows you to be, the warrior spirit from back in the day. Um, and that's just something like I honestly believe again is in our DNA, and we need to move on that. But as far as but with the service economy and stuff like that, bro, you have to be multifaceted. We live in a world where you have to be multifaceted. And then one of the reasons why all you have to do is when you go look at some of these countries, they were considered third world countries. In some aspects, they still are, but they got a middle class as well, and so they're dealing with that. So it's because of what we did and how we shifted that we helped them build their own wealth and create their own wealth, which is fine for that time, but we need to adjust. That's what Trump's trying to do right now. Unlimited production says True Night, and if manufacturing came back, Americans won't work for well under minimum wage with no benefits, a 15-hour day like industrial revolution days. Yeah, I agree unlimited, but I'm also looking at the fact that industry itself will change, and that can draw people into it. Right? It's the same thing, kind of like with gaming. I kind of complain about it if I'm being honest, but the days of just a nerd or the outcast playing video games is not that's not the predominant thing. Like when I was growing up, now you have a lot of different people that are playing games. One thing I like about industry and bringing it back here because we're so innovative, I would like to see how we take that. That would to include AI. I know you guys don't like hearing that, and I'm not saying about AI taking people's jobs. What I am saying is that it could reinvigorate. How can I say this word? It could create more innovation, right? And to the point where you're going to have a hybrid of a worker that can do both labor and technical. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm looking forward to, right? And I have a belief. Maybe it's a little bit naive, some might say, or a little bit too high-minded. But I have this belief that we can do that. That's what we're known for, back in the day with the Industrial Revolution and the stuff that we came up with, right? Um, Look, dude, just look at prison and the stuff they do in prison with all that time. You know what I'm saying? They come up to. If you ever watch one of those prison shows, dude, I am amazed. I'd be like, dude, this dude need to go to MIT. Who knows what he could do with nuclear fission? You know what I'm saying? This dude could be like a scientist, right? And again, it's a product of your environment. It's definitely a product of your time, right? But it's also the ingenuity, man. You need people to grow, and you need people to experiment and try new things. So that's what I'm looking at with the manufacturing: bigger, better, stronger. Unlimited says trade deals provided cheaper goods, but also caused a lot of plants and factories to close that went outside of U.S. borders. Point is, everything is multifaceted and really one solution. But yeah, exactly. Well, you said it way better than I could. Unlimited. Thank you. 100% agree. You have to be. We have to be multifaceted. We have to be like Xbox, right? Right? You want ID independent games, boom. You want double A games, boom. You want to stream your games, boom. You want to pay for your games, well, we've fallen off of that truck. We need to bring that back a little bit, and we might. The interesting, again, Microsoft got their 50th. There's a lot of good content out there if you're a Microsoft guy. If you're into the stuff that I'm into, definitely go watch what they're saying because they got questioned on the tariffs. Satya had a great comment on it because you knew the guy was going to ask because he's a financial news person and they're all, how the financial people are. They're like, tariffs bad, da 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 da. Look, bro, I understand. I have a 401k. It's not looking so good, but I hate to tell you this, it hasn't been looking good for a long time, so I don't really care. Now if you're in the market, man, and you're more tuned in, I get it. I understand. But also on that same coin, these people need to understand that they're dealing with people that are not in the market. And if I'm being honest with you, the average American don't care about what the average American care about is paying $10 for milk. In my case, that thing went up to 15. I had to go to Sam's and Costco. That's the reality of it. But yeah, exactly what you're saying right here. We need to be multi-tiered. We need to be multi-layered. We need to do a little bit of everything. And the way America works, man, is the way we do stuff here, dude. We always there's an attitude of building a better mousetrap that's going to drive competition and innovation. Dude, if I was younger, if I was a young person, I would definitely be looking into agriculture right now. And I'm not saying you have to be the person doing it, but I was watching a video in Japan on how they make wagyu beef, man. I think we could step our, we have great beef in the Midwest, dude. But then of course with the supply stuff, gotta work on that. But I think there's like, if I was younger, I live where I live right now, dude. I would look into doing that, making a better grade of beef, um, helping to stabilize the supply line by creating an actual butchery. Um, I don't know. There's something that I'm looking at right now, dude. The cost might be way too much here, but if you're in the mainland, dude, I think the possibilities are endless, dude. So what I'm talking about is there's this guy that goes around a day in the life of in Japan, and he actually went to this person that's a butcher, and then they also did something with these dudes that do wagyu beef, and they've got it down to a science the way that they do it to produce the quality of beef that they have, right? And it's so good that it's well known throughout all of Japan, and when they sell it outside of Japan, it's a ridiculous amount of money, but it's a high quality beef. And then the other one with the butcher, it shows like going back to that old school. You have a butcher in a neighborhood, and a lot of people stop by and pick up their stuff fresh. It's daily, right? And then the guy also makes things for people to eat, right? And so something like that, dude. If I was a younger person, that's what I'd be looking at. And again, not to dominate the industry, but to do something for yourself, man. We need to bring back the mom and pops, right? We need to bring them back. And this is the type of microeconomic stuff that I would like to see come back to the United States. Like I don't have to go to Costco. And nothing against Costco or Sam's. They provide a service. They provide a necessity. Yeah, but I want to be able to like sometimes on my way home and I want to try that. Hey, tonight I think I'll make a roast. Go down to the local butcher, get to pick out the cut that I want, right? Because I'm gonna prepare a certain way, or because I like the quality of the beef, or both, right? Options. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Options. Tyrone Magnus been at it for YouTube for nearly 15 years, but he's 100% not someone I go to for gaming. He's great at the other forms of entertainment. Yeah, 100%, unlimited, 100%. Like he's playing that Kazan game right now. Um, if you check it out and stuff like that. But he's a pony. I mean, not pony. He's a PlayStation guy. I won't go as far as to say that, but man, entertaining dude, man. I mean, I know, like, I think he should be bigger, than what he is, because he is an entertaining guy. But now he's also doing politics now, just like Asmund Gold. A lot of these guys are dipping their. And I'm not saying they can't or that they don't have a political bone. They might have been. They might have been paying attention to it, but they're starting to do that kind of stuff, man, because it's all encompassing, right? And again, that's why I do it on my channel, guys, because I need something to talk about, and I spend a lot of time on it. So why not kill two birds with one stone? A lot of Texas billionaires are in Abbott's pockets. When I say vote Abbott out, I don't mean a party switch. I mean that we vote Abbott out. Yeah, I get it, unlimited. I have the same problem here, right? A lot of the people here, man, one of our biggest industries is defense, right? A lot of these people are peaceniks, but they also got to play the game, right? A lot of them got a big scare about 15 years ago, dude, when there was this big fight to shut down the shipyard here. and that's a big money thing for the state. So the people can sit here and protest and be anti-war all they want to, but federal government is one of the big reasons why Hawaii can stay afloat. So yeah, bro, 100%, dude. I say this all the time on this channel, dude. All politics are local, right? This is why on the federal level, man, we need to shrink it and get it back to the states because we all in different boats, man. What I experienced as a Republican here in Hawaii, Unlimited is experiencing the opposite. I don't know what your party affiliation, bro, if you're independent, whatever, but you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a big difference between our states as far as how the Republican Party or Democratic Party is. Because I'm pretty sure if you were here, you probably wouldn't like the Democratic Party. No, but I'm here. I don't like anybody here. I'll be honest. I'm just being honest. These people can't manage a budget to save their life, and we all suffer. All last week, dude, there was accidents on the freeways, dude, and people were stuck in traffic for 5-6 hours. I go against traffic, so it didn't affect me as much, but I feel their pain because a lot of my coworkers have to deal with that. And it's a simple fix is getting police on the freeway to monitor the way these people are driving. That's a simple fix. Unlimited production. He took credit for the Texas boom we're experiencing, but reality is a lot that is happening in spite of Abbott put in place before he took over. He's Scottie Pippen, the rest of the dude. I see some stuff on the national news, dude, with the battle that's going on in Texas. Now, of course, from the outside looking in, it's a Republican Democrat kind of thing. But like you said, dude, you're adding context. This is adding context, guys. And Unlimited can speak on it because he actually lives there in that state. Like I try and add context, and I try to check my bias when it comes to Hawaii. But adding context is important. Unlimited says, I think the future of manufacturing is automated plus specialists. Yeah, 100%. There's some things though that they're just gonna have. I never think AI or automation is going to get to that level, but I think you have to be fluid. I kind of hate using that word sometimes, but I'm just being honest with you guys. You have to be fluid when it comes to your prospects moving forward. Learn as much as you can. Definitely look at do a I forgot the name of it. Occupational Outlook Handbook. Maybe grab that. Try or just try and research what's the predominantly big major industries going forward. And I know we're in flux, right? But like Unlimited saying, dude, manufacturer plus automated plus specialist, right? So somebody who works in the factory, but maybe has a little background in mechanical engineering, not just somebody who works on the assembly line. You're still going to need that, though, even with the automation. Quality control is not at that point yet. It might get there eventually. But again, dude, bringing back these companies, I think is great because then you're going to have people that can work in jobs that they can move up with the company. Because that's what we used to do too. You could get a job, start off at base level, and then work your way up. And it would be beneficial both to you and the company because you have a career, right? You have time to generate a savings and a life, and the company doesn't lose that knowledge base. That's what happened when they shuttered all this stuff, man. I don't know, I don't know how long it's going to take for us to get to good. Because I'm not in that Rust Belt area, I don't live in those areas. I don't think it'll take us a long amount of time. But I mean, we need to get this stuff up and running now. I wish it was Republican versus Democrat. It's actually corruption versus non-corruption. 100% unlimited. This is what people don't understand about DC and why I'm so anti-DC because they're all in the same boat. There's some nails that stick out and they get rightfully hammered down or get removed. This is why Trump is such a hurricane for them, dude. That's why they can't stand on both sides. He doesn't play by their rules. And so he's that X factor that came in there. Then you add Doge in there. That's why these people are losing their minds. It's not the status quo anymore. These people need to get exposed. That's why a lot of people are slow walking. I honestly believe this. People are slow walking as much as they can because they're all guilty. Both sides. And they all need to go. 100%. A lot of stuff's getting exposed in DC right now, the way that they do business. Right? And it's amazing, dude. The height of the hubris of these people, man, just blows my mind. Like how offended they are that the plebes want to know what's going on. Yeah, dude, you guys work for us. We should know what's going on. That's why, dude. Katie barred the door, bro. Just destroy the whole thing. Just take it down to zero, in my opinion, if I'm being honest. And just, You know how I am, guys. I'm a scorched. I tell you guys all the time. I'm a scorched earth guy. They should have just went in there, run rough shot on it, man. Got break it down to the foundation, then build it up, or don't build it at all. On that level, I know a lot of people think I'm crazy, but that's just the way I look at stuff. And I talk about that with Sony. No, don't work with Sony. Destroy them. Don't work with Nintendo. You. That's why it drove me nuts when I saw that. Well, we're looking at, with 200 consoles has hit a consoles has hit a ceiling. 200 million. Then they start giving me the numbers. I was like, you know what would push past that ceiling? If you're the only game in town, and people wouldn't have a choice. How about that? Did you ever look at that? Did you look at that option? I thought you did. Unlimited says, for example, Houston has a Democrat mayor who's also corrupt. Not as bad as Abbott, but he's taking money and putting it in places Houstonians don't agree with. Yeah, dude, it's a problem across the board. At least you guys are looking at it, dude. Here, these people are zombies now when it comes to the party here. And what I mean by zombies is they vote, they'll just vote blue every single time. They'll vote Democrat every single time because their great grandfather voted. Because when their great grandfather was working on the plantation, right? These are the Democrats saved them from the wicked businesses and oligarchs, which there were back then, right? But again, that was a different time. Applying that standard to now, dude, we don't even have cane fields, dude. We have no pineapple fields. We have no cane fields. Big sugar is no longer a thing, right? We're service, we're federal, and then you have some small businesses trying to make it, and they all get snuffed out because the politics too here doesn't favor the little guy. It favors all the big interests, just like you're talking about in Houston. Hawaii's the same way. Maybe it's because we have H's for our state. I don't know. But in order to have a thriving economy, man, they just had a food show, where all these vendors got together and they took over our local convention, and they came out with all their goods, man. And people it was huge, man. The lines are long, dude. It was huge. A lot of people went, and all the reviews are solid, man. Because it's a food show. Usually it's a food and crap, but I think it's strictly vendors that sell food, and they want to get their product out there to show the community what they got, dude. And I was blown away, man, because I follow guys on Instagram that went. I don't like crowds, and then I was having back problems and I can't walk, and so that would be good for me to go to that. But I was watching these videos, man, and some of the stuff these people coming up with, dude, and it's fusion, man. And when I first moved here, dude, that's how I was, like kind of in the late '90s, early 2000s. There was a fusion of things that was going on, but it just kind of died off. And now it's coming back, right? And some of it's out of necessity because people got to make money. They got to do something somehow. So with that drive and trying to stand out, that's how you get the innovation required to create the things that some of the stuff I saw do. It's a blend of Pacific, Asian, Euro. It was touching on every aspect of it, dude. And that's how you get this fusion that's so good. You know what I mean? So we need to bring that back, dude. Not just here in Hawaii, but across every single state. You know. We need that, dude. I see other countries doing that right now, dude. Texas barbecue blew up, mostly because of stuff online, right? And then the quality of it, but people from other countries who have big followings came to like Texas, right? They went to Terry Black's and a couple of the other barbecue spots, man, and did videos and were blown away because they have a perception of what America is. Then they come over here and they see the barbecue, right? And on the surface is, of course, if you're from France or England or something like that, right? Or you're from this other country, and then you see the way that we present our food, but they ate it and they was blown away. They couldn't believe it, and then that opened their mind and they tried a lot of other stuff. So what's happening is a lot of other people came and it became a big thing on YouTube, and then these other countries are like, hey, we're gonna make this stuff, and that's how you expand. That's how markets expand. I keep up with local government. Best chance to enact change. Yeah, that's one of the best things you can do. Again, that's why we need to make everything local, bring everything back to the states. Don't let some bureaucrat, 1,000 miles away, how many hundreds of thousand miles away, make the decisions for us, right? Yeah, that's why those people need to go away. Yeah, like for me, I just talked about a vow. Don't like the gay stuff in the game. I can have that choice of playing it or not playing it. With a lot of bureaucrats, if you don't like it, dude, they shut you down. They try and cancel you. But there's a new sheriff in town in DC, and they're the anti-cancel counselors, right? I take that for what it's worth, but I'm just saying, I want choice. Again, for the tariffs, man, people keep on telling me it's a tax, it's a tax. They're like, no, dude, I just won't buy it. But a tax, you have no choice. You have to pay it. With a tariff, dude, if you're going to if you're gonna bring your product to me, and even though I might like the product, like a Nintendo Switch 2, ultimately I make the decision if I'm gonna participate in this transaction by buying your product and buying your games. That's not a tax. That's a choice. That's what drives me nuts when I listen to these guys. It's a tax. Like your boy Ted Cruz. The other day I saw him at Rand Paul, another dude. It's a tax on this and that. And that's because they're trying to, because they're in their bubble, man. And then for most people like me that live the way I live, I could care less. I'm just being honest. I'm like, dude, I just won't buy it because I can't afford to buy it, dude. I gotta worry about the cost of living on other things. So that's not even in my picture for some of this stuff. Not per se the Switch. I was just trying to use that as examples. I think you guys would understand, right? Say the Switch, you were willing to buy it at $459 or $449, 400. Let's say $450. Say it's just a standalone, you're gonna buy that, or let's just say you're gonna buy the bundle for 500. You made that determination. You drew up your little plans. You're gonna sell off your Switch, maybe a PlayStation 4 because you have the 5. Whatever you're gonna do, maybe your Xbox Series X because you have the X. Whatever you're planning to do to sell off to make it more affordable for you, right? To get the Nintendo Switch 2. That's all your choice, and that's all that stuff you're doing is under your control. You don't have that control with a tax. Sure, you can vote, but a lot of times when you vote, that doesn't change anything, right? Because it's the system's broken, right? So at least with the tariff, dude, you have that choice. I don't need to be drinking fine wine and caviar, right? Like Canada's like, oh, we're going to upscale our dairy. I was like, well, I mean, I'm not saying I'm lactose intolerant, but maybe it's time for me to do some keto. You know what I'm saying? Again, for some people, like maybe you love cheese and they got the brand that you love. I get it, right? But again, at the end of the day, life is about choices, and you still got a choice. With taxes, you have no choice. You just got to pay it. And a lot of times, this is why we have so much problems in this country, right? Because these guys have gotten comfortable because they get the money, they'll get the tax from you, and they don't have to be held accountable. Right? That's why I don't like income tax. They should get rid of it. If you're gonna do anything, man, charge me a sales tax. How about that? Because it's my money, I get to do it. And then if I get more money, more pay, right? Like the tax on tips. Trump getting rid of that, dude. That's a service industry booster, right? Because we're very generous in our tipping for the most part, right? Not everybody, but most people are. Right? So if you got a pay, like if you're making pay, like say you're making $70 an hour, but a lot of people that work in service industry rely on tips, and there's no tax on that, dude, and you get to keep that 100%, dude. I mean, it can be and then other people point out other ramifications and stuff, but I'm all on board. Let's roll that dice, and we'll deal with the problems when we get there. But I'm always about choice, man, when it comes to my money. Let me decide what I want to do with it. Because I don't have to participate in the economy. That's what I do. I don't participate in it. I know where I'm at in my life. I'm fine with what I have, what I don't have. It's fine, dude. I don't need the Bentley. Dude, I don't need the Range Rover. I don't need the mansion. Right? I just want to be able to, I got my house, it's paid for. I want to be able to have money to fix it when I need to, upgrade it when I need to, pass it on to my kids, have some savings. If I want to go out and get a Baskin and Robbins with my kids, or maybe go and buy my daughter the latest Pokemon. Right? That's all most people care about. Don't have to be like, living high off the hog. That's why I don't care if there's rich people in the world, dude. You do you. If you break the law, then you got to pay, just like the poor people, right? It has to be equal. Right? But if you're out there doing your thing, do your thing, man. I'm not going to hate on you for it, dude. I don't care Jeff Bezos has a lot of money. I care that his company can't deliver my packages within with Prime, right? What was it? It's supposed to be 2 days. That stuff went out the window. I'd like to see him fix that. But other than that, I'm good. But yeah, guys, let me wrap it up there. I've been going for almost 2 hours talking about this, but I did want to do something political, but I haven't. I'm gonna try and do the reactions to the videos, dude, but those things are gonna be super long. Because there's some good comments. But what I will tell you guys as we check out here, want to thank the chat for being here. Unlimited, man. Thanks for hanging in there, brother. I appreciate it. I know you wanted to play South to Midnight, but I do appreciate your commentary. Some really great commentary, by the way, as well. Knights of Cypher, man. I've never seen you here before. I could be wrong, but I appreciate you being here. And you're more than welcome, dude. I know you said you're a PC guy. That's fine, dude. I let people that are Sony guys come in here, dude. And they can anybody can come in here, dude. I don't shut it down for that. And plus, I'm confident in my own way of what I like to play, and I can respect everybody else. Faded, bro. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sending me the thing, brother. I appreciate it. That was pretty awesome. But the tariffs, yeah, that stuff is, again, man, go check out what's really going on because it's going to affect you. That's probably one of the greatest things about this whole Nintendo thing that I love because a lot of gamers now, you're going to have to get up to speed on what's really going on and do it from the viewpoint of not what people are telling you, but what you find out on your own, but more importantly, how it affects you. Because a lot of you guys, man, you guys realize, dude, this is not. Dude, I would not be surprised if they come back with the bundle being $5.99, and people are gonna cry and moan about it. That's the reality of it. They might do a counter on like some of these countries, man. You gotta watch them. They might do a counter with a reduce it price for other countries and stick a higher price on the U.S. just because of the tariff thing, maybe as reciprocal punishment towards Trump. Sorry, President Trump, or just because they know that we're one of the more wealthy countries and that we can afford to pay it. But people will buy it. I don't care how expensive it is. I mean, it might affect the overall number, right? But people are gonna buy this thing. Trust me. Yeah, thanks, Tom, man. Appreciate it. Unlimited says, yeah, I don't care that rich people exist too. We should reap rewards if we cultivate a path to personal assistance. Yeah, Unlimited, 100%. And that's one of the things, not in defense of rich people, but defense of the risk reward factor. Because for all the people that are out there that made it, there's also people that didn't. But you can't penalize that. You're gonna take that away. And then we'll really be in trouble because we need that. Again, this is why I was kind of offering that to the Gen Z generation, like my daughter's them generation coming up, dude. I want them to be more entrepreneurial. I think entrepreneurial is the way to go. We need to reset this economy, and we're going to need them. We're going to need that Generation Z to be the entrepreneurs that we had back in the earlier 60s, 70s, and 80s. How the country was originally built. We did a reset. Now we need them to step up. And I think the way that they are, the way that they grew up, the way everything's been geared, I think they're going to have a leg up more than any other generation if they choose to put in the work. That's the only thing. If they choose to take the risks, all right. But at this point, I think they're ready. Hopefully they are. You got big corporations doing stuff, dude. There's wiggle room in between the cracks for these guys to carve out a thing of their own, and we need that too because we need competition, man. Because sometimes businesses get carried away. Sometimes with this manufacturing, the union's going to kind of you know step on some toes or do the wrong thing. So you need competition, and that competition comes from a various sources, especially in businesses. That's why again, man, bring back the mom and pops, dude. Bring back the state-sized businesses that service their communities. Let's get back to good. And at the end of the day, that's what we need to do. But yeah, everybody, thanks for being there. Xbox All In channel. Host Sega Forever. We out.